this episode of Puck Drop. And on today's episode of Puck Drop, we will be doing a Devils prospect list pioneered by the one and the only host, Jacob Gorn. So for that being said, I will hand him the mic. How are you doing today, Jacob?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing, Ryan?
I've had my better days. I mean, school does start tomorrow, but otherwise, yay.
Well, I mean, think about this: 3 days of school, 5-day weekend. So, it's
Be happy. We're finally doing a part 2. We're finally updating the tier list.
today's a good day because last summer we made a Puck Drop New Jersey Devils prospect tier list, and we are doing a second one because as good as the Devils prospect pool was last summer when we did it, it has gotten even better since, with 2 drafts having come since then. So with that in mind, I chose 20-ish, I believe it's 22 actually, of the Devils' top prospects, in my opinion, and we are going to rank them into 5 tiers: AHL or worse, bad, average, good, and great or better. And we are ranking them on a combination of what they have proven so far and their overall potential of where they could be and what they can do in the NHL one day.
How many? Give everyone the information on the amount of prospects.
Yeah, 22.
22.
Cool.
Speaking of that, I just got a call that I had to silence from someone who's trying to sell me Devils season tickets.
Yay.
All right, so let's screen share. All right, so we're going to have Kevin Ball first, and the way this is going to work is we're each going to go one at a time and rank where each one of us thinks it's going to go. So for example, if I was doing Kevin Ball, I would say he's an average, and Jordan and Ryan could either vote to bump him up to good or down to bad, or they can try to convince me to change where I want to put him, and we're going to swap off. So then Ryan will go first, and then Jordan will go, and then I will go. And that will be the order. So Ryan, you'll go first, and you have Kevin Ball.
So I'm going to, start off with a little bit of maybe a grab. So let's think about it like this. Kevin Ball is a defenseman on a team that's growing defensively, and he stands at 6'6", 230. And he's 21 years old. I think he's got a lot of potential. I'm going to put him in the good.
To agree with Ryan, because he's near NHL ready. He's proven his defense is elite. He's proven he has a bit of offense. He didn't show it in the AHL or the NHL a lot this year, but he has proven he has some offense. But let's be honest, he's defense first, and he's really big, and he's near NHL ready. I have to agree.
Okay, so the thing about Kevin Ball is he's a good skater for his size, and yes, his defensive game is solid. I'm not quite sure he's that close to NHL ready. He's not going to make the team in the camp this year. Maybe next season. I would want to put him in more average. I don't think he's going to be like a top pair defenseman, or maybe even I think when he gets to the NHL, I think his suitable role would be like bottom 4 defenseman. I think he could fill that role perfectly well when he gets to his prime. I'm not sure how close he is though. I want to put him in average, but if you guys both say good.
But can I just say one thing, Jacob? Jacob, I just say one thing. He has gotten NHL minutes and he's played. And tell me if my notes are
but that was because of if the Devils did not have as much injuries on the defense as they did at the end of last season.
Potato. He got minutes. I don't care why he got minutes in. He played 7 NHL games. He's clearly got the NHL. He's got the NHL under his belt in terms of experience. I think he's ready to go. That's why I'm putting him in good. I don't care why.
I don't know. I agree with Jacob. I don't know when he'll be on the roster, but based on the fact that he has gotten NHL minutes and what he's already proven, he may not turn out to be like a good player in the NHL, but as a prospect, he is good. Yeah. So let's move on.
All right. Next prospect we have is the only goalie on the list. I decided to put only one goalie. I was debating between Akira Schmid and Cole Brady, who I think are the Devils' 2 top goaltending prospects. I ended up putting Cole Brady, who had a fantastic year last year at ASU. He earned the starting job by the end of the year, .910 save percentage on a not very good team. And he's going to be their starter going into this season. Jordan, where do you put him?
I had a really tough time with Cole Brady. On the one hand, he's playing very well on a very bad team. On the other hand, He's going to have some challenges getting to the NHL. I'm going to be nice and I'm going to say good. I think he's a good goaltending prospect playing on a very bad team.
I'm gonna vote to bump him down to average because like you're ranking on what he's done so far and what he can be. And what he's done so far, he has been solid. Last year he was solid in the NCAA, but he has to show that he can continue that play this year. And the year before that in the USHL, he did not put up the best numbers. I'm gonna vote to bump him down to average.
Yeah, I'm actually I was actually waiting to gauge your opinion because in my notes I actually have with Cole Brady average parentheses in between average and good, and I decided that based on the fact that he's playing on a bad team, I would bump him up to good. But I'm gonna agree with Jacob actually.
So
Ryan,
I'm going to have to also agree with Jacob. I think that he's got a very big wingspan. He's a big player. He's 6'5", and I think that at the collegiate level, he's doing an excellent job. He's still an underclassman, if I'm correct, right? He just finished.
yeah, he's going to be a sophomore this year.
Yeah.
My guess is he plays another couple seasons with ASU before signing a contract. He'll probably play a year in the AHL and then before finally coming up to the NHL. That's just my guess on his trajectory, but yeah, he definitely could be a solid backup / 1B.
Exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say he's a big player. He's glove side strong. I think he can be an average NHL goalkeeper.
All right, so let's put in an average. Next up, we have Graham Clark, and Graham Clark, I think, was really helped out by the fact that the OHL didn't play last year, which is one of the rare cases of that happening. With lots of prospects, including some on this list, who were hurt by the fact that the OHL did not play last season. Graham Clark was not one of them. He got plenty of time in the AHL where he put up very, very impressive numbers. He led the team in goals with 8. I think he could surprise some people in camp. There is a chance he makes it. I think he probably needs another year in the AHL, but Graham Clark is a solid prospect. I'm going to put him in good.
Yeah, let me just I'm going to back you up in terms of good. He is a gifted puck handler. He's an excellent puck handler. And I think that he is most definitely a stronger offensive player than defensively. But I think that having a gifted puck handler on the wings is going to be key because we got Nico Hischier, we got Jack Hughes, we got fast skaters down the middle. So I think if we had some puck handling talent, maybe some people with quick hands on the sides would really be beneficial to the Devils organization. So I'm going to agree with putting him in good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Devils have a lot of prospect depth on talented players that are probably going to play in the top 6 when they get to the NHL, guys like who we're going to talk about later, like Holtz and Mercer. So will Clark end up playing in the top 6 when he gets to the NHL? Probably not, but I think he can be a solid depth scoring, third line winger, which is important to, being a good team. So yeah, I think we should put him in good. All right. So next up we have Ethan Edwards, and Edwards put up solid numbers last season. I believe he played Sioux City with Sioux City City.
I'll help you out. Sioux City.
Sioux City in the USHL. He put up some pretty good numbers. He was an all-situation defenseman there. He's committed. He's gonna play on a stacked Michigan team this year, and I think that could help his development. I'm gonna put Edwards in average.
Isn't it my turn though?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, it's your turn, Ryan.
Yeah. Where are you putting him, Ryan?
All right, so I'm going to put him in average. Jacob, you kind of just took the spotlight from me, but it's fine. Whatever. I'm going to put him in average. I think I have a decent explanation for it. I think that in terms of height-wise, weight-wise, things like that, he's just very average, which is not the main key here. The main key, which I'm seeing in terms of positioning, is defense. Devils' defensive unit is completely stacked. I don't see that much space or time for him to grow into a first or second liner. I think the fact that he's a lefty is somewhat beneficial, but I can see him ending up working into a key third line defenseman for the Devils. I just think those first and second lines are going to be very hard to crack, and I just don't think he is that insanely good of a player to take over the first or second line for the Devils. So I'll put him in average, great third or fourth line defenseman.
Well, I'm outvoted here, but I'm actually going to my vote is actually for bad because I think he has good tools and I think he is a decent player, but based on the curve and just the ferocity of the Devils farm system, how good it is, I don't think he stands out of the crowd. I think he's a good skater. I think he works hard.
He's
I just
described
don't-
as very well, Jordan. He's described as very well off the puck.
So I
he
feel like
he
this year at Michigan is going to be very important for Ethan Edwards.
exactly.
I think he's right smack in the middle of average for me. If he has a not so great year at Michigan, if we do this next year, he might not even be on this list, and B, he might be bumped down to bad, or B. But if he has a good year at Michigan, then I can easily see him being bumped to good, and he could end up being one of the Devils' top defensive prospects. But I guess again, this year at Michigan is key for him. All right, Jordan. Next up is Nolan Foote, prospect. Lots of Devils fans are probably very familiar with. He's been regarded as one of their top prospects since he was acquired from the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Blake Coleman trade. Where are you putting him?
I'm going to put him in the good category. I think he has good offensive skills. I think he puts up very solid numbers. I think he'll end up being a middle six kind of guy. And I mean, he has had some injury troubles, but he's very close to NHL ready, which balances everything out. I'm going to put him in good.
All right, let me go now. I'm going to say this. I'm going to throw a big curveball. I'm sure you both are going to not be happy. I'm putting Nolan Foote in bad. He's injury prone. He would not that it has to do with anything, but the Tampa Bay draft pick, in my opinion, just hasn't really stood out in terms of his attributes. I know it's been a little early, but I just don't really see a lane for him. I think that he might be just a little bit late of a boomer in terms of the fact, I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of Nolan Foote. So I would put him in bad, inching closer to average. Just my opinion. I just don't see him fitting in. That's just my thing.
So
Well, we can only move up and down one level. So what do you think,
yeah,
Jacob?
for me, I could see an argument bumping him down to average. He did get 6 games in the NHL last year,
Yeah.
but in those 6 games, I really did not see that much of him. He wasn't a liability on the ice, but he was just invisible out there. I didn't know when he was out on the ice because he just didn't do anything.
He did score a goal and an assist. I'll give him that. Points wise, he wasn't horrible.
Nolan Foote is a very talented goal scorer. I think he has the projection of he probably could be a top 6 winger on the Devils when they get to be good. I think he will probably end up being like a middle 6 winger just because of their depth and their prospect pool. I could see argument bumping him down to average, but I think he's at a similar level to Graham Clark, so I'm going to keep him in good, I think. Yeah, I'm going to keep him in good. All right, so next up, we have Arseny Griciuk, and actually the KHL just put out their top 10. He's going to play full-time in the KHL this year, which is going to be huge for his development.
That's high-level hockey right there.
It is. Second best league in the world, a lot of people say, and the KHL English Twitter account put out their top 10 rookies to look out for this year. Arseny Griciuk was number 2 on that list. It just shows you the amount of skill that he has. Great shot, nice hands. He needs to get a little bigger, and he needs to develop his defensive game. But I think playing in the KHL is going to help him a lot. I don't see him coming to the NHL next year. 2 years from now, I think, is when we could see him in North America. But I'm going to put him in just because it did take him a little while to get to the KHL. This is tough. He's all the skill. He's all the skill in the world, but just based on his trajectory, I'm putting him in average.
I'm going to have to agree with Jacob because I think that he has shown that he has unquestionable offensive skills. But like Jacob said, he did take quite a while to get to the KHL. And I think he's largely untested at that higher level of play. In the KHL, I mean, obviously the KHL is a very tough offensive league, but he did not do much offensively. And that's where a lot of his talent lies.
Yeah, Arseny Griciuk, obviously all the skill in the world. I for some reason, I just can't put him in good. It's just like his trajectory, and it's the Russian factor. It's the Russian factor. I'm gonna keep him in average. Could bump him up. He's very close to being good in the good tier though. All right, next up, Ryan. You have Alex Holtz.
Yep. So I have to say this right now. I am a very big Alex Holtz fan. I think that he is a very good hockey player. I think that he has a lot of potential. Let's not forget, he's a very young player tell me if I'm right on this. He's Swedish, correct?
Yeah, and he was 7th overall pick in 2020.
Yeah.
He already has an NHL shot. He has had
Yeah.
an NHL shot for years now.
Okay,
It's
thank
just
you for
applying
giving
that
me time.
shot and adjusting to the North American game. Ryan, where are you going to put Holtz?
So I think he's a very technically skilled type of player. I think that he's not size deprived or anything like that. I think he's just a very solid player. I'm gonna put him in between good and average category. If there was one in between that, I would do it, but I don't think I can do that. I'm gonna put him in average.
Really?
Yes,
Holtz.
I like Holtz. He's not old and he's got a lot of potential. He's very technically
Yeah, but there's
skilled.
a great or better category right here, which I built. I specifically built this for players like Holtz. Like
You understand. I respect your opinion, but you
Okay,
have to
well-
understand. You have to understand. Not everybody is who they get projected to be. I hate to go basketball like here, but Greg Oden might have been one of the worst basketball players of all time. He was drafted first. I think Holtz will be the average to over average type of player. Just
I'm
I'm going
gonna-
with I'm going with Ryan's sentiment, but I'd vote him to be good.
Yeah, I'm voting.
Because let's be honest, his reputation precedes him. He's Alexander Holtz, the 7th overall pick
Yeah,
in
and
the 2020 draft.
he had a
But
bit of-
I think
he ha-
the pandemic hit him hard and he had a bit of a rough
yeah,
year.
he has a
So
bit of a
I
down
place
year,
him in
but
good and not
let's
great.
not forget.
I don't think
have
it's
this.
I don't
I
think
have
it's
this
the
in
pandemic
bold.
that
I have this in bold. He lost muscle mass. So I'm just keeping an eye on him. I think he's an excellent player. I'm just saying, not everybody's who they turn out to be. He's a technically skilled contributional player. There's nothing wrong with that. He's very good at what he does. I just don't see him being the next Wayne Gretzky. I'm sorry.
Well, no, but great or better. It's not like I'm not saying it's elite. I'm just saying like they're gonna be like top 6 forwards.
No, I just don't think he's Nico Hischier. I don't think he's like a Nico Hischier quality draft pick. I'm sorry. I think he was a solid first round pick. I think he's an average to, you know what? If it makes you feel better, and I'm totally fine, excuse me, if it makes you feel better, I'm actually totally fine doing this because I can totally see this happening too. You can put him in good.
All right. Well, if you put him in,
I mean,
if you're
he is
putting
going to
him
be
in
in good
good,
because me and Jacob outvote you, but
but if you're putting him
think
in
Jacob
good, if you're
overrates
putting him
him.
in good, I'm gonna vote to bump him up to great or better.
well, I'm not gonna.
I'm not going to
vote
do that because he's a
Okay.
contributional player. He's not going to carry. I don't just see him carrying the Devils to the playoffs. I'm sorry. I see him in a contributional player. He is not a Jack Hughes. He is not a Nico Hischier. He is not a star first round great or better pick. Just my opinion. He's a good player.
All right.
I'm gonna
I think I'm
the
gonna-
reason I place him in good is a little different. I think when he was drafted, his potential was great or better, but based on the pandemic hitting him hard and him having a bit of a rough year, I'm gonna place him in good. That's my reasoning. I think his potential is great or better, but based on where he is, it's good.
All right. Well, I'm outvoted here, so I guess we're gonna keep him good. Jordan, you're up. You have Luke Hughes.
Well, I think I'm gonna place Luke Hughes in great or better.
I agree.
Because Luke, yes, of course. I think we all agree on this one. He is young and he's gonna go back to Michigan. He's not gonna play in the
Not back to
NHL 's
Michigan.
first
He's
year.
going.
I think that
You said back
Right.
to Michigan. He's not. This isn't gonna be.
Right.
He's going to Michigan. Yeah.
he's going to Michigan. But anyway, he's not gonna play in the NHL in his first year. I think that's a good decision. Don't get me wrong, but he is young. But he also has a lot of room for development. I think he has much better potential than his brother Quinn. I think he doesn't have size issues like his brothers Quinn and Jack. And I think Jack and Luke can play top tier hockey for years to come.
Me and Jordan both have Luke Hughes in great or better, so he's gonna be staying there. And I am up right now with Case McCarthy, and I am gonna put Case McCarthy as the first bad in this tier list. Case McCarthy, he put up decent numbers last year. He was definitely hurt by the pandemic. He only played 12 games. I believe did he play with UMass?
He played with Boston University.
Yeah, okay. I know he played with one of the Boston schools. He only played 12 games though. He was definitely hurt. He was okay there. With the Devils prospect depth chart, I can't see him really being anything special. Again, bad in my opinion is like fringe NHL, might not make it. So I'm going to put him in bad.
I agree with Jacob. I think he is bad. I think that he's a very physical player, and he has decent enough puck skills. I don't think those things can get him by on their own. I think he needs to develop into a better player.
All right, Ryan, you have another top 3 Devils prospect right here in Dawson Mercer.
Okay, yep. Right off the bat, I love Dawson Mercer. I like his play style. I like his size. Everything about him screams good to me. I'm just gonna say it off the bat. I think he's a good player.
So for Mercer, he is extremely skilled, but he is also like an elite two-way player. He won best two-way forward in the QMJHL last season. He won that award. I forget what exactly it's
The
called.
Quebec Major Junior Hockey League.
Yeah, and he won best two-way forward in that league. So his defensive game is not slacking whatsoever. And he can put the puck in the back of the net as well. 19 goals in like 22, 23 games last season.
We're thinking
Like
along
6
the same
goals in
lines here,
10
Jacob.
6 or 7 goals in 10 play. What do you say, Jordan?
I said, I think we're thinking along the same lines. I just want to see where you're going with this, because I think we're thinking the same thing here.
I think he's a better chance of making the team this year than Alex Holtz, and I think I want to bump him to greater better, but
We're thinking the same thing. I like his consistency. I like that he still has potential to rise above his station. I like his offense. I like his defense. I like everything about this guy. I think he's great.
Last year, in last year's draft, in my mock draft, I had Dawson Mercer, I believe, going at 12. He fell to the Devils at 18. Not a lot of people saw that as a steal. I saw that as a huge steal at the time, and I feel like that opinion still stands. I think that Dawson Mercer could end up being a giant steal in the draft. All right, next up, Jordan, you have Patrick Moynihan. He played with Team USA in the World Juniors this past year in December, won the championship with Team USA, and he also played with Providence College, put up like, I believe, 15 points in 17 games, from my memory. Jordan, where you put him?
This might be a little controversial, but we'll see. I'm going to put him in bad because he's decent. He has okay offensive potential, but I think he will end up in the bottom 6, and I don't think he's anywhere near NHL ready. And based on that combination of factors, I don't think he's based on that combination of factors compared with the rest of these prospects. I think he's bad.
I want to bump him up to average. Ryan, do you have the vote, or are you going to keep him in bad?
I think I'm going to stick with Jordan, just because I think that the Devils forward, we have to think about depth. I think depth is very important. I think the Devils offense is young and it is talented. I think it's going to be very difficult for him to find his way into the second or third line. I think he might be able to fit into the third line potentially, but I think that first line is locked. I think that second line is most likely going to be locked. And that third line is building up. He's going to have a lot of trouble, and he is not one of the top prospects in the Devils organization. So let's be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him bad.
So the thing about this is we put him in bad in last year's tier list. I just watched through it earlier today to get some reference. And he had a much better year this year than he did in 2019-20, which is why I'm inclined to bump him up to average. But you guys want to keep him in bad? That's okay. We're going to move on to our final prospect. In this part of the tier list, unfortunately, this is going on too long. We're going to have to split this up into a two-parter. But the final prospect in this part of the tier list is Shakir Mukhamadullin.
The famous Shakir Mukhamadullin.
20th overall selection in the 2020 draft. And Mukhamadullin, he showed last year, he was a bit of a controversial pick at 20. Some Devils fans did not like it at all, but he had a really good year prior to his injury in the KHL last year as UFA's number 1 defenseman. He was the number 1 defenseman as a 19-year-old on a KHL team. Think about that. I'm going to put him. He also just had a fantastic Four Nations U20 tournament. He was easily the top prospect there, one of the best players there in general, if not the best. I'm putting him in good.
I'm gonna want to bump him down.
Too. What?
Really?
Oh, sorry, you can. Yeah, I'm gonna want to bump him down. I think that yes, he is a good player. I don't think he's near NHL ready, and I think he was
I
overdrafted.
think
That might be a little biased.
I think
But
that
I
is some some reach bias from last year's draft, but I think he's proven that he's proven thus far that he's worth the pick. And usually defensemen do take a little bit longer. He's only 19, which is, and it sounds like after this season, he's going to play one more year in the KHL, and then he's going to come over and sign a contract in North America. I think once he comes over, he could make the team at a camp. He might spend another year in the AHL. I think either 2022 or 2023 is when he's going to make the team, which 2 or 3 years is perfectly normal for a defenseman. Like, you look at Ty Smith, he didn't make the team his first 2 years after he was drafted. And then he made the team the year after that. Muhammad Dooley might be 1 year behind, but he's not as good of a prospect as Smith was. So that's why I'm putting him in good.
All right, and I'm just going to say one
It
thing.
sounds
too.
like I'm outgunned. So
I would keep him in good, but the only thing I'm going to say here is that we just finished part 1 of this prospect list. Realistically, it would be a miracle for all these players to turn out average and plus, who we said. I mean, that's a lot of players who are going to make the NHL and take, like, there's a lot of spots already taken in the NHL for the near future. I mean, think about it. We got Jack Hughes, we got Mackenzie Blackwood, we got players.
these players might not all these players will play for the Devils, probably. Some of these
Oh,
players may be traded.
I know, I'm most definitely agreeing with you. I'm just saying, it just seems to me like the odds of all of these players who we've said are average and up is very low. I mean, average, maybe 2 or 3 draft players are really NHL quality players. But I have to say, I think we've done a pretty good job. I think it's time to wrap it up.
I agree. So I'm going to stop the share, and Ryan, wrap things up.
Thanks so much for watching part 1 of this 2-part NHL Devils tier list. Follow us on Instagram, Puck_Drop_Source. That's right, Puck_Drop_Source. And our Twitter is, why don't you both try and say it at the same time?
We've done this
1,
before.
2,
It's
3.
not going to work. We'll try again. 3, 2, 1. At
LHS.
Puck
Damn
Drop.
it, Jacob. You did it so late.
No, you did it so late. I was about to start, and you weren't starting.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
At
LHS Puck Drop. Okay,
Excellent.
let's wrap it up.
Thank you
That's
so
the
much
best
for
we're gonna
watching. All right. And our Twitter is at LHS Puck Shop. Take care, and thank you so much for watching. We'll see you at part 2.